The World Heavyweight Championship, aka the most beautiful wrestling title of all time. None of these can even come close. It's big, gold, and beautiful, makes you look like a real champion. What else can you ask for? The original design was made back in WCW, but WWE brought this championship back in 2002 as a secondary world title. And the main reason why this championship is so amazing is because the champion had to win the title in a huge tournament, aka Eric Bischoff gave the championship to Triple H for no reason. So, already a prestigious belt in my opinion. This championship is beautiful, but believe it or not, we got some questionable champions. So in today's video, we are going to rank all of these champions right here from best to worst. So let's start with the Great Khali, easily the best World Heavyweight Champion of all time. Because when you look at all of these people, I feel like the Great Khali is the biggest one. He's big, he's strong, he's definitely the greatest. This is not even funny, people. This is not even funny. The Great Khali, in my opinion, is the worst World Heavyweight Champion of all time for a very simple reason. He couldn't wrestle. My man could not wrestle. Batista. Whenever I look at the World Heavyweight Championship, I think of Batista, Edge, The Undertaker, and Triple H. So Batista is one of these names, and he was an amazing world champion. Like, he was the face of SmackDown as the World Heavyweight Champion back in 2005-6, I think, once he actually got drafted from Monday Night Raw. And yeah, he is one of the biggest and best World Heavyweight Champions of all time. So I'm gonna put Batista in S category. The matches with Triple H, Edge, The Undertaker, wrestling was so cool back then. Who the hell is this guy? What? Chris Benoit. Where I would put Chris Benoit. WrestleMania 20 ending is one of my favorite WrestleMania's endings of all time. But we are not ranking title victories. We are ranking best champions. It's completely different. You can win the championship in the greatest wrestling moment of all time, but you can also be a terrible champion. Chris Benoit as a world champion was decent, but not good. I would put him in C category because he was always in the mid-card, even as the World Heavyweight Champion. He lost the championship to Randy Orton, and that was it when it comes to Chris Benoit in the main event picture. Alberto Del Rio, definitely a better champion than a WWE champion, and he held that championship for so long, my man. I remember SummerSlam, Christian versus Alberto Del Rio. I was like, they are finally gonna get rid of Alberto Del Rio as the World Heavyweight Champion. Finally Christian is winning that championship. No, he retained the championship. He lost the title against John Cena. He retained it against Rob Van Dam. It was a long title reign, but it was definitely not a good. It was, I don't know, I didn't like it at all. I remember not liking it. He won the championship in an interesting way. He won the title on SmackDown back when SmackDown was not even live. He won the championship against The Big Show, but the title reign itself was not that good in my opinion. I would put him in C category. The Big Show. So, another great championship win. I feel like he won the championship against Mark Henry and Sheamus. Believe it or not, Sheamus versus The Big Show is one of my favorite WWE matches of all time. The storytelling in this match was pretty decent, believe it or not. But I don't remember anything when it comes to Big Show being the World Heavyweight Champion. Anything at all. I remember him winning the championship, but when it comes to Big Show as a champion, his title reign, I don't remember, like, seriously, anything. I like the Big Show. He's definitely one of the most talented big guys in the WWE, but as a World Heavyweight Champion, he probably wasn't that good. I don't know if he was as bad as the Great Khali. Definitely not. But if there was one more category in between these two, I would put the Big Show right here. I don't think he was a better champion than Alberto Del Rio. King Booker. So for one reason or another, I think at WrestleMania 19, Triple H retained the championship against Booker T, and people are still questioning why. Like, seriously. Thankfully, few years after, he won the championship. And he completely reinvented himself. Like, he completely changed his gimmick, and I feel like it was a pretty decent run. He was a champion on SmackDown. I don't know much because I was not watching SmackDown back then, but from what I've seen, he was definitely an interesting champion, so I would put him in B category. The Undertaker, definitely an S, because this guy made the championship look prestigious the most. Undertaker is the man. Undertaker as a champion makes the title look important. Triple H as the World Heavyweight Champion. So people call this title reign a reign of terror because he was a champion, let's be honest, for way too long. But then again, Triple H as a champion brings back so many good memories. So remember, this is my list. And I actually liked Triple H as the World Heavyweight Champion. I liked the evolution, I liked Raw back then, so Triple H, in my opinion, is one of the greatest world champions of all time. Fight me. Chris Jericho, definitely one of the greatest World Heavyweight Champions as well, because he was a champion during that Chris Jericho versus Shawn Michaels rivalry, one of, if not the best rivalries of all time. Changed his gimmick so much to the point that he became so interesting they decided to give him the World Heavyweight Championship. This is probably my favorite Chris Jericho of all time. Shawn Michaels. So I know he won the championship in an Elimination Chamber match, but I don't necessarily remember or seen a lot of Shawn Michaels as World Heavyweight Champion stuff. Like, he was probably not a very good champion. To be fair, he doesn't even need a championship. So he was probably in C category, but the moment itself was great. Christian as the World Heavyweight Champion. Can we count these 5 days? Because he lost the championship against Randy Orton in 5 days on SmackDown, but then he won the championship again because Randy Orton kicked him in the nuts. So that was an interesting way to win the championship. But this was pretty much a Kofi Kingston story you see right now, you know, an underdog. He waited 17 years or something like that to become the World Heavyweight Champion. Definitely one of my favorite WWE moments of all time. And that Randy Orton versus Christian rivalry is one of my favorite rivalries of all time. So he didn't hold that championship for very long, but he was definitely a good champion. So I would put him in B category, not quite A because it was very short. CM Punk as a World Heavyweight Champion. The first time he won the championship, he sucked. The second time he won the championship, he became entertaining once he actually turned heel and faced Jeff Hardy for the championship. I don't know for how long he was a world champion when he was in a rivalry against Jeff Hardy, but if he was, it was a damn good championship title reign, so I would put him in B category, probably. Randy Orton as the World Heavyweight Champion. So he is the youngest world champion of all time. He won the championship in 2004 and in 2011 and 2013 when they merged the titles, but that probably doesn't count. So when it comes to 2004 title reign, I liked it, but most people didn't. He was probably a little bit too young for the championship. He was not ready, even he admitted that. But I liked it because I loved Randy Orton versus Triple H rivalry. You gotta admit, in 2011, Randy Orton made this championship look legit again because this title suffered a lot from champions like, well, we will talk about those later. So Randy Orton as a world champion is definitely an A. Daniel Bryan as the World Heavyweight Champion. He was entertaining in my opinion. He was pretty decent. He lost the championship in 18 seconds. When Daniel Bryan was the World Heavyweight Champion, he wasn't as over as he was in 2014, like, not nearly as over. And he always looked kinda weak. But then again, he was very entertaining, so I'm gonna put him in B category as well. Dolph Ziggler, one of my favorite WWE superstars of all time, one of my favorite, if not favorite, WWE World Championship title victories when he cashed in against Alberto Del Rio. Definitely my favorite cash-in. Yes, for me it's better than Seth Rollins cashing in at WrestleMania, unpopular opinion. So Even though the cash-in was amazing, the championship title reign didn't last long. The way he lost the championship was pretty good as well. One of my favorite matches, Del Rio versus Ziggler, and he was selling his concussion the most time. That was a pretty good match. But I feel like before the match he was actually injured and he wasn't there for the shows. So the title reign was pretty bad. I would put him in this category. Some points for the cash-in and the last match as a champion. Edge as the world champion. Do we even need to talk about that, people? Definitely right here. This championship was made for Edge. Edge was made for this championship. Goldberg. So Goldberg, I think, won the championship against Triple H, but he probably didn't hold that championship for very long because I only remember Triple H as a champion during that era. Triple H, Chris Benoit, and Randy Orton. Yeah, probably here. People probably really wanted Goldberg to be the World Heavyweight Champion, and I can already see wanting that myself if I watched wrestling regularly back then, if I was a bit older now. Jack Swagger. So this is where the championship suffered. Jack Swagger as the World Heavyweight Champion. It wouldn't be as bad if he was actually booked correctly. So he lost most of the matches as a champion. He won the championship, but he looked like a mid-carder. He basically was booked like an intercontinental champion. And I honestly really like Jack Swagger, but let's be honest, his WWE World Heavyweight Championship title reign was horrible. Jeff Hardy as the World Heavyweight Champion. So it's not that different from his WWE Championship title reign. WWE never trusted Jeff Hardy because of his problems, obviously. So his title reigns were always really short, but the moments were unforgettable. But the championship title reign was not good at all. I'm gonna put him right here, unfortunately. Kane as the World Heavyweight Champion, way too late. And Kane without mask is horrible, especially back then. Nobody wanted to see Kane as the World Heavyweight Champion in 2010 or 11, whenever it happened. Kurt Angle as the World Heavyweight Champion, probably right here. I mean, it's Kurt Angle as a major champion on SmackDown. Everything this man touched, he made it legit. Sheamus as a World Heavyweight Champion. So Sheamus was definitely a better World Heavyweight Champion than a WWE Champion. He held that championship for very long, and I remember these entertaining matches against Ziggler. Unfortunately, these matches opened pay-per-views for some reason. I don't know why. But he was definitely probably right here. You know, people never really cared about Sheamus that much, but he always had very entertaining matches, and looking back, he was a decent champion. Mark Henry as the World Heavyweight Champion. I don't know for how long that lasted, but it was also a very special moment, and I still don't know why they got rid of this Mark Henry attitude a little bit later, because this man was legit back then. He won the championship against Randy Orton, already makes him look even stronger. But when it comes to the championship title reign itself, I don't think it was memorable. So yeah, if we have champions like Shawn Michaels, Jeff Hardy, Mark Henry is probably in C category. Don't get me wrong, some of these wrestlers are my favorite wrestlers of all time. I'm just talking about their world title reigns. Rey Mysterio as a World Heavyweight Champion. So he won the championship as a tribute to Eddie Guerrero, and then he won the championship in like 2009, 10-ish, something like that. It was pretty decent. You know what? I feel like it's probably right here. People always liked Rey Mysterio. People love the underdog stories, and Rey Mysterio told that story pretty well. And John Cena as the World Heavyweight Champion. He held that championship, I think, twice. In 2009, I think. And he is actually the last World Heavyweight Champion of all time, if you don't count Randy Orton when he held 2 championships. I think it doesn't count because they merged the titles. So yeah, I've always seen John Cena as the WWE Champion. When they gave him the World Champion, for me it was like, Okay, so they are desperate. They need to make this championship look a little bit more important because they ruined it. I don't know how I feel about that. I'm gonna put him in B category just for his 2009 or 10 title reign, but his 2013 championship title reign was pretty bad. It did nothing for me. So this is my World Heavyweight Championship title reign list. So don't get me wrong, most of these champions were actually decent champions. The only very bad World Heavyweight Champions are the Great Khali and Jack Swagger. I should probably put more people in A category and more people from C to B, but that's how I feel at the moment, and let me know your thoughts in the comments below. Who was your favorite World Heavyweight Champion and your favorite world title reign? Let me know your least favorite as well. Thanks for watching this video. As always, the Great One. Peace, love, and hugs.
I'm a genius! 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 I'm a genius!